the top 10 quarterbacks for the 2025 fantasy football season.
Is Patrick Mahomes. Sure, he's the most talented quarterback in the real NFL, but as far as his fantasy production, he's dropped a lot.
Burrow as your third. I mean, he led the league in passes. He had 650 attempts. My God, how is his shoulder still intact?
Jalen Hurts. He had 371 fantasy points. He can explode. He's a boomer bust guy. He can explode.
He has 52 rushing touchdowns in 4 seasons. That's more than a lot of running backs. What's up, everyone? We got another fantasy football video today. My name's Drew. He's Mike. And today we have the top 10 quarterbacks for the 2025 fantasy football season. So we're getting to the position rankings, and these videos are a bunch of fun. So I'm looking forward to this one.
I'm looking forward to what a great time. We're a month out from the NFL to start, fantasy football to start. It's always a great time. I'm looking forward to this season, 2025. And it's always fun trying to select the quarterbacks, how they're going to start the year and finish the year.
All right. So we're going to go from 10 to 1. Then at the end, we have some sleepers and some honorable mentions that we feel deserve to be mentioned in this video. So I'm going to start off with my number 10, and that's Caleb Williams, the Bears quarterback, second year. I mean, he's one of the most hyped up quarterback prospects the NFL has seen in recent years. You know, he kind of got screwed over by the horrible coaching staff they had last year. They weren't really telling him to watch film or how to. Now he's got Ben Johnson, who made the Detroit Lions offense look unstoppable the past 2 years. I mean, the talent that Caleb has. DJ Moore, who's a certified receiver one on most teams. Roma Dunze, who they drafted 9th overall. They're expecting a breakout year from him. Luther Burden, who before last college football season, everyone thought he would go like top 10. But he kind of slid to the second round. He has character issues, but he's super talented as well. So they got 3 really good receivers. They got DeAndre Swift, who's a running back that can catch passes out of the backfield. Then they have 2 good tight ends with Cole Kmet, who's been underrated since coming into the league. Then they just drafted Colson Loveland, Michigan tight end. We don't love Michigan players, but he's a good player. So I'm really excited to see Caleb with good coaching this year, see how he performs. I think he's going to develop really good with Ben Johnson.
I like that pick. I think he's going to have a better season this year. Like you said, all those playmakers he has on his team. So I got him in a list, but he's not in my top 10. So I struggled with my top 10. I picked 2 guys who are very similar on points that they scored last year and numbers, if you think about it. I got Bo Nix and I got Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, we've seen him in the past be a top 5 quarterback. He's got a lot of potential, talented, rushing upside. Bo Nix has rushing upside too as well.
Right.
I think Kyler Murray's going to get it done this year with Marvin Harrison stepping up. Cardinals are going to be a little bit better. But when I looked last year, fantasy points, Bo Nix scored 328 fantasy points. Kyler Murray was 308. They both threw for over 3,700 yards. The good thing about both these guys, they both rushed for over 450 yards. You know, they threw about 29 touchdowns for Bo Nix and 21 for Kyler. 4 rushing touchdowns for Nix and 5 for Kyler. I mean, these guys are very similar attributes. You know, they got a good release, and they take off and scramble and run down the field.
Right.
I like both these guys. Bo Nix has Cortland Sutton, who just re-upped. He signed a contract. So both these squads are good. I like both these guys. I couldn't decide which one I liked better. So I'm going to make them both my 10.
Kind of cheating, but we'll let it go. All right, so number 9, I have Dak Prescott here. He always has elite volume, you know. He led the NFL in passing touchdowns in 2023. And I expect the Cowboys to throw a lot this year, too, because they don't have the greatest running back committee. They got some sleepers, but
Yeah.
not a bell cow type
That's
of
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Um, CD Lamb, I think, is going to be healthy this year, and if CD's healthy, that's going to make Dak look really good.
Mm-hmm.
They trade for George Pickens, who we all believe he's super talented.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just he needed to get his attitude right, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe a new, fresh start will get the best out of George Pickens. They got Jake Ferguson, who's a really good tight end, and they just
Mm-hmm.
re-signed him.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Dak a lot. I think he's going to bounce back
Yeah.
because he was injury prone last year.
Yeah. I like Dak as well. He's not there. He's a little higher for me. I'm gonna go. My number 9 is Patrick Mahomes. Sure, he's the most talented quarterback in the real NFL, but as far as his fantasy production, he's dropped a lot.
Yeah.
So last year, he was 12th ranked in fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
He scored 283 fantasy points, and the year before that, he finished 8th. So he's starting to keep stepping down. His receiver room is not there. 2023, he was 284 fantasy points and he finished 8th. So he's 12 last year and 8th the year before. He's throwing for last year 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 2 rushing. If he can get those touchdowns back up to when he first came in the league, he was closer to the 40 mark.
Mm-hmm.
Then he jumps higher up in there. But so far with that receiver room, who's going to step up? You got Rashid Rice coming back. Looks like he might be suspended a couple games.
Yeah.
It's so hard with this receiving core to pick Patrick Mahomes. So I have him at 9, and he's in the top 10, which is great, just based on his talent. And he's got some rushing upside, but not very much volume there. But he's my number 9.
That's a good one. I kind of regret where I have Mahomes now after you saying that, but my number 8 here, you talked about him earlier. I have Bo Nix. I'm a big Bo Nix fan. Second year breakout potential. Sean Payton's, making the offense more to fit his strengths as a quarterback. Quick releases. Nix is low turnovers. He only had 12 last year, and most of them came in like the first weeks when he was trying to figure out how to play NFL quarterback. He's a dual threat. He's very athletic, and people don't really talk about how athletic he is. So his rushing ability gives a higher floor. And remember that shootout against the Bengals? I mean, he played really well towards the end of the year. He was a top 10 fantasy quarterback in his rookie year.
Right.
Because he caught fire towards the end of the year. So I think he's going to build off that, and he'll easily be a top 10 fantasy quarterback this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think his upside is being up in that top 5 because he does offer that rushing ability, and he does got a strong arm. So I like Bo Nix. I had him at 10, but that's a good spot for him because I think he can, have a good year as well. So my number 8, Jared Goff. This guy puts up numbers. He had 320 fantasy points last year, threw for 4,600 passing yards, 37 touchdown passes, and he caught one ball for a touchdown. So, he don't catch many passes or he don't offer you much rushing yards, but the Detroit Lions offense is very strong with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamo Williams. I think they're going to have a great year. And I like Jared Goff. I have him at 8. He's going to offer you, a bunch of passing yards, and a lot of touchdowns.
I think Jared Goff is the most undervalued fantasy quarterback right now because he always gets drafted towards the end of the year, and he'll start for a lot of fantasy teams.
Yeah.
All right, so
he's another close to 600 pass attempts. That's what you love as a quarterback, as a guy dropping back and throwing the ball.
Right.
So Sam Laporta, this team is stacked, and he's going to put up big numbers. I see him in that top 10.
Yeah, that's a good pick there. All right, number 7 is Patrick Mahomes for me. Down year last year, 2 years ago, he hasn't performed like his 2018 year, but he's the most talented quarterback. You got to believe he's going to turn it around. He's been telling reporters that this year they're going to take more shots, show his strengths instead of just the checkdowns that they've been doing the past couple of years. Xavier Worthy has gained 10 pounds of muscle and he's thriving on the practice field right now. They're saying he's unguardable. Rice is a big question mark. Is he going to play? But what Chiefs reporters have been saying is he looks really good. He's the most targeted Chiefs receiver so far. Then they got Hollywood Brown, who just a couple years ago with the Cardinals was a damn good receiver. So they got three guys and they still got Travis Kelce. I kind of feel like Travis wants to leave on a high note. So I think he's going to try to bring out the best. And yeah, I think you got to have Patrick Mahomes in the top 10, right?
Yeah, I agree with him being in the top 10. Like I said, Rashid Rice and Xavier Worthy are good receivers. He's capable of putting up 40 touchdown passes for you. That's the thing that always puts him in that top 10 or even higher than that, say the top 5. But for right now, he's kind of stepping back and he keeps dropping his output for fantasy. He's great in the regular NFL. He wins games. So you like that, and he does drop back and throw the ball. So he's worthy of being in the top 10. So my number 7, I'm going with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was hurt last year. He had that hamstring injury that sidelined him for the whole second half. But 2 years ago, he finished third in fantasy points with 352 fantasy points, 4,500 yards. And, this guy, Dallas, is a really pass-heavy offense. He's got 2 great receivers now with CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, I think, and he's got Jake Ferguson as another solid tight end. This team likes to throw the ball, and he's one of those guys that doesn't mind throwing the ball either. So he's got a little bit of rushing upside for you, but that's kind of scaled back with some of the injuries that he's sustaining in the NFL. But I really like Dak Prescott this year. I have him at 7. That's where I want to put him.
I like that a lot. All right, number 6. I got Jayden Daniels here. Everyone was shocked by how well he played in his rookie season, how well the Commanders played. They made it to the NFC divisional game, which was awesome. Cliff Kingsbury, his offense is fantastic for dual threat quarterbacks. Now he's got weapons. He doesn't just have Scary Terry. He's got Debo, who Washington reporters are saying Debo looks pretty good. He reportedly lost 10 pounds of fat. Good thing, because he was one McChicken away from being a tight end. So they might get him more like how Debo was in 2021. They got Zach Ertz, who's a reliable tight end.
Yes.
Jaden Love throwing to Zach Ertz in the red zone. And they got a solid run game with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. Eckler can catch passes too. But, they just got so many firepower for Jaden. So I got to have Jaden here. I'm not ready to put him as a top 3 fantasy quarterback after C.J. Stroud burned a lot of people last year. So I think 6 is a good spot for Jaden.
Yeah, I like that. I like him a little bit better than that. But, Jayden Daniels is a good quarterback, and that Washington offense is loaded. So my number 6, I'm going with Baker Mayfield. He had an incredible season last year, and I think he's going to do the same this year. He's got 3 outstanding receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and the rookie they just drafted, Emeka Egbuka. This team they're a pass-heavy offense. I like Baker Mayfield. Some of the stats for him, he finished 3rd or 4th last year in PPR points, 365 last year. That finished 4th, and the year before he finished in the top 10 with 284. So this guy's steadily climbing as being in a great fantasy quarterback play. Last year he threw for 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns. He had 3 rushing touchdowns. I think he's going to have kind of a same type of year this year. So I have him just outside of my top 5, but 6 is a great spot for him. I think he's going to have another year. He might step back on the touchdown passes, but still going to offer a lot of yards passing with touchdowns.
Yeah, I like that a lot because Baker is my number 5 here. You hit it on the head. Weapons galore with the Buccaneers. I mean, you talk about the receivers. Don't forget about the 2 running backs they have.
Right.
Bucky Irving, who can do it all. Rashad White, who showed he could do it all too, but he's more of a pass catcher. Cade Otton, who can get some nice catches for you. And Jalen McMillan, who was the second round receiver they took last year, and he had really good games too. So Baker's just loaded with options. I mean, you try to take away Mike Evans, he can hit Godwin or Emeka or whoever's out there. So Baker, and plus he's being drafted kind of late, like mid to late. So he has top 5 potential, and I don't see why you would draft a quarterback super early when you can pick Baker.
Yeah, he's got great draft value for sure. Yeah.
And they're getting all of their 5-starring linemen back this year. And he said that's very important. That's going to be crucial for us. So I like Baker at 5.
So some of you people might complain about my number 5. I'm going with Jalen Hurts. The guy ahead of him, I'm flip-flopping, but I'm going with Jalen Hurts at my 5. Last year, he finished 8th in PPR or points for the season, fantasy points for the season, with 315 fantasy points, 2,900 pass yards, 630 rush yards. So he's still offering you good rushing yards. 18 passing touchdowns, and here's the most still incredible stat that he puts up for you: 14 rushing touchdowns. That's what you love Hurts about. So, and then 2 years ago, he finished 2nd. So he has that capability of being in that top 5 because he offers a lot. He had 371 fantasy points. He can explode. He's a boomer bust guy. He can explode, especially with this offense. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith as his receivers. Saquon Barkley catches passes, and he can catch a reception for a touchdown. So he offers you unlimited scoring points for you in fantasy because I have him at my 5. So that's a top 5 quarterback right there.
No doubt, because I have him at number 4 here. I mean, he is a cheat code till they get rid of the tush push. I mean, the guy squats 700 pounds. So every time they get down at the 1, Saquon's kind of mad, but he's like, we're going to score here anyway, so I'll take 1 for the team. He's been top 3 in rushing touchdowns among quarterbacks since he became the full-time starter. So rushing touchdowns are crucial. He has 52 rushing touchdowns in 4 seasons. That's more than a lot of running backs. So
he's like an extra running back.
He is an extra running back. So he's an elite fantasy quarterback option. He had 18 passing touchdowns last year, 14 rushing touchdowns. I expect him to get more than 18 this year. I think he's going to go back to that 2022 season he had where he had about 26, I believe, passing touchdowns. So if you get 26 and over 10, that's 36 touchdowns right there. That's good math.
So my number 4 is Jaden Daniels. Washington's offense, to me, is ready to explode this year. This kid offers you really good rushing upside. He's very talented. He can throw the ball. He finished last year, his rookie year, with 355 fantasy points at the QB position. That was 4th. He threw for 3,500 yards, and he rushed for over 800 rushing yards, 2nd to Lamar. 25 passing touchdowns and 6 rushing touchdowns. I think both those numbers spike. I think he's going to throw for more touchdown passes, and I think he's going to rush for more than 6 touchdowns. He's got great receivers. Scary Terry, I believe, is going to sign. He'll be ready to, the start of the season. Plus the addition of Deebo Samuel, I think this team is going to have a great offensive output here. I'm excited about Jaden Daniels, what he can do this year. So it'll be fun.
So they're going to feed Deebo football. It's not chicken nuggets. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm going to say they're going to feed him the football and not a Happy Meal.
Oh, great. All right, so number 3, guys, we're getting to the top 3. And my number 3 is Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Cool, whatever you call him. Had a bounce back campaign. He scored the most points in his career. He had averaged about 21 a game last year. 2022, he averaged 21 also. I mean, the he's got such a stacked offense. Jamar Chase, who we all consider the best fantasy receiver in the league. T. Higgins, who is awesome when he's out on the field. He averaged 18 a game. They got Chase Brown, who they're talking like they're going to really use Chase Brown this year in the passing game as well. I mean, he's just got such a high floor. He's in a tough division, so you know the Bengals are not going to try to go 0-4 this year so they can make the playoffs.
Right.
So they're going to rely on their offense a bunch because that defense stinks.
Right.
So you got to have Joe Burrow as your third. I mean, he led the league in passes. He had 650 attempts. My God, how is his shoulder still intact?
Right. I agree. Joe Burrow is a great pick because he's my number 3 as well. Huge season, I think, incoming here with, like you said, both those receivers, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, are great. Chase Brown, like you said, is going to offer some receiving yards and receiving touchdowns. He's going to be a good play for you. Joe Burrow, all he did was finish third in fantasy points for the QB position with 373, almost 5,000 passing yards, over 40 touchdown passes, 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, I think Joe is going to have an awesome year. I really wanted to put him higher, but the 2 guys ahead of him are just studs. And I think Joe Burrow is going to light it up this year. I'm excited about him.
Yeah. I will say the 2 guys above him, they have better rushing ability. So that's why you have to put them in front of Joe Burrow. Number 2, this is so tough. This is like 1A, 1B. But for me, number 2, I have Lamar Jackson, the MVP. I mean, coming off such a great year. He has some good weapons. Zay Flowers, who was coming off strong towards the end of the year. I think he's going to keep getting better and better as his career goes. DeAndre Hopkins, who I don't know about drafting fantasy, maybe pick him off waivers, he might produce. That's still a good option for Lamar to throw to. Yeah. They got Bateman, who's a deep threat, and they got Mark Andrews, who still catches a lot of tutties.
Still puts up touchdowns.
He might move like a grandma, but he still gets in the end zone a bunch.
Yeah.
They got Isaiah Likely, too, who's a threat. He got injured, but they expect him to come back, maybe miss a week or 2. So, I mean, he's got options. Then he's got Derrick Henry, who every defensive coordinator is scared about. And they're the best backfield. They create so many nightmares. He's got elite rushing. He's over 700 rushing yards pretty much every year. He's been the starting quarterback. Highest passing yards season last year with 4,100 yards. So he improves every year passing. He had 5,000 total yards last year. I feel like not many people talk about that. 5,000 yards. His lowest scoring average was 19 points a game, and that was in 2022. So every year he's been a starter for the Ravens. He's been over 20 points per game in fantasy. So Lamar is such a reliable pick. So
yeah. Yeah, he's definitely a great guy. I struggle, like you said, with trying to pick these guys. To me, it just boils down to offense, the better offense. So I had to take who typically is that number 1 quarterback, Josh Allen. I'm going to make him my number 2. Incredible athlete. You know, a great player. The only question with me is the receivers. Who's going to step up for this team? You know, you got Shakur and you got Keon Coleman and you got Joshua Palmer that's in town, who's a decent receiver. That's just the hold up for Josh Allen. Josh Allen gets it done with his legs. He offers you great upside rushing. You know, last year he finished 2nd in fantasy points with 380 fantasy points, 3,700 pass yards, 530 rush yards, 28 passing touchdowns, which is kind of low for a guy that you're going to put at number one.
Right.
That's kind of what made me go with number two, because the receivers aren't catching touchdown passes. They're relying on Josh Allen to run it in.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 12 rushing touchdowns. They're relying on him too much to run the ball. That's what scares me, and that's why I dropped him down a little bit. Uh, until that receiving core gets better, he's my number two.
I respect your opinion. I do, but Josh is number one for me. He's been a top 3 fantasy quarterback the last 5 seasons. He's averaging about 23 and a half per game. He's a matchup nightmare for defenses. I mean, he can pick you apart passing. He can run, scramble, beat you with his legs. He's very accurate now. He has improved so much on his accuracy. Um, Bills' offense, I think, are going to be a little bit better. They added a few more weapons. Josh Palmer, you talked about, and don't forget the Browns legend, Elijah Moore. They also have him.
Yeah.
They got Curtis Samuel, Shakir, Keon Coleman. So he does have weapons. And James Cook, who's capable of catching touchdowns, and Ray Davis, who would steal touchdowns from James Cook, too. So I do like Josh Allen's weapons, and I just believe this is the year Josh Allen wins MVP and fantasy MVP.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Josh Allen is a great player, and yeah, I agree. But I got to go with Mr. MVP, and my MVP in fantasy football, Lamar Jackson. I mean, listen to this. This guy is ridiculous, right? 430 fantasy points, was number one for the quarterback position, and overall, he threw for over 4,000 passing yards, almost 1,000 rushing yards. That's better than most running backs. This guy is putting up that. Throws for 41 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns. This guy's incredible. What a great player. With me, he's got just a little bit better receiving core. I'm kind of high on Flowers as having a good year. D-Hop is not the D-Hop of when he was young. He's
Right.
a little older.
Right.
I think that they'll get the job done for him. Plus Henry, it was going to move the chains, keep the ball. I think this is one of the best offenses, and I think they're going to always be in scoring position. This is why I looked at Lamar Jackson, because his offense is a little better than Josh Allen, and I think they're always going to be in scoring position. That's going to, make Lamar Jackson score fantasy points for you.
Right.
So I have to go, Lamar Jackson as my MVP at the quarterback position.
I totally get it. It's just a gut feeling that I think Josh will finally be the highest scoring quarterback. So that's our top 10. Now we have honorable mentions, sleepers. So I have 2 guys I want to talk about. My first guy is Jared Goff. You talked about him in your top 10. I definitely could see a world where he sneaks in the top 10 with just the offensive weapons he has with the Lions. I mean, he's super undervalued, and he's great value for you guys if you're drafting him in the 15th, 13th round, something like that. Then my second guy is Kyler Murray. I believe this is Kyler's make it or break it year. If he doesn't perform like the first overall pick in the 2019 draft, I think they're going to get rid of Kyler. So Marvin Harrison Jr., I think, is going to take a big leap this year. So that's going to help Kyler. Then they got Trey McBride, who is becoming one of the elite tight ends. So Kyler could definitely have a bounce back season. He's getting more and more healthy. So I like those 2 guys.
Yeah. That's good. So my 2 sleepers is Caleb Williams. Well, you talked about him. You had him in your top 10. The receiving core that he has is going to be great, and he's going to be throwing the ball. This offense is going to be a lot more explosive. He's got great receivers, good running backs. I think he's possible in getting into that top 10. So he's kind of a sleeper for me. My other sleeper is I'm going to try deep sleeper, Michael Penix.
Wow.
I think this kid offers a little rushing upside for you. And Atlanta's offense is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They got London. You got Bijan Robinson. This team is going to. This offense is pretty dang good, and I think that he's one of those guys you want to keep an eye on
Yeah.
because they like throwing the ball. And I think Michael Penix is a pretty darn good QB, and I would keep him in, as a QB2 on your roster,
Yeah.
or someone that you could put on there. If you got a stud quarterback, then it's a risk reward. If he blows it up, then you got a solid quarterback. So I like Michael Penix, and I think Atlanta's offense is going to be a lot better this year. I kind of think that the old man dead tight end might show up this year.
Yeah.
I think Pitts might actually not be an armpit and actually play pretty well this year.
Yeah.
They're saying he's liking dumping it off to him in practice, so maybe he shows up.
I have heard that a lot. That could be a possibility, maybe. But all right, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment down what you think. What picks we got right? What picks we got wrong? Are we two stooges or are we oracles? Please comment down. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.